Listen only to the sound of my voice. Let your mind relax. Let your thoughts drift. Imagine yourself in a frozen forest.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Black Ops 3 Realistic Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Mission 8 Part 2, The Demon Within, or Demon Within as it's known, and this is a pretty interesting sequence. There is a lot of dudes here, there is a tank here, and there is a spawn push up to a church that leads to a penultimate boss fight, which is actually not too bad. I only died about 2 or 3 times, and that was because I just couldn't find a spot. And the one moment where I found a spot, or a spot that could work, or potentially work, was the one where I got the victory. And it's only tricky because there are infinitely spawning soldiers, and the soldiers come from all directions. They're on balconies with rifles, they're flanking you, it's pretty intense. And then of course there's a tank you have to kill. But this sequence here is just straight up enemies, so use your DNI because it's really going to help, and use your abilities to the best of their cybercore talents, and try and get a little bit of levity from the floating bodies when they fly off into the sky, which looks pretty hilarious. But this is a real tricky sequence. I should be using my ability here, but I don't have it, because that was a whole bunch of guys I could have easily got vomiting and dying of the resonator, which is a fantastic move, if not a little bit dark. But you'll notice the lady's pushing forward as he floats away. Look at that. He goes straight through the world, and the world is all Inception-fied, but that's not a bad thing. I think it's one of the more endearing aspects of this game. And I think they could have gone so far with this. Like, if all the levels were simulator, there's no roof on that. There's no limit to what you can do, and I think it could have been so great. It really could have. And don't get me wrong, I still think that the campaign is really strong, in spite of a lot of people who disagree with me. I've had a ton of fun with it, and I'm going to have a tons more fun. Not quite as much as I probably would have, because some of those accolades that they want you to do, or those recommendations, decorations, I forget the name of the particular thing. Beating every level on Veteran without dying. And I don't know if that means you can do it with your friends, and you can have the self-revive on, which gives you essentially two attempts per level. Because I'm thinking, right, as I head glitch over here and pop these dudes from a distance, when you push up on this sequence, there's a house in front of us that's going to give us a checkpoint. You need to go inside it though to proc the checkpoint, or it won't work, and you'll end up having a very arduous occasion. And I did that and it wasn't fun, so please learn from my mistakes. But I'm thinking, right, if you were to do that, it's more than possible on your own. It'll just take a lot of, annoying resets from silly moments that just happen in these games. But if you were to do it with friends, couldn't you feasibly have one person or two people holding back, like laying down behind cover while the other 2 people clear everything out? And then, try not to go too far in front and warp them and put them in a bad spot. But potentially you could do it like you did the old Halo games, where one person stayed back for a respawn point and everybody else just bombed forward and tried to kill shit, which I don't think it was ever a very entertaining thing to watch, but it was always pretty hilarious to do. And similarly with the simulation that you have to do on Realistic, I did it on Hardened and I died on the final wave, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. There are only 16 waves, but the last one, there's a ton of dudes in front of you where you start, and I was getting shot, so I moved behind cover, and I moved directly next to a massive tank, and the tank just instantly murdered me. And it was one of those, it was kind of like a beginner trap, or a new player trap, but now that I know that that happens, I won't put myself in that spot. But I think of how many times I got shot to get there, and it was a few, so that's a death on Realistic, which means that it's going to be really difficult to do that, really, really difficult. So it had me thinking, couldn't you feasibly have 3 people being aggressive and 1 person laying behind cover, reviving anybody that goes down to make sure that you get through it and you can do all 16 waves? Because if so, that could be a really fun, like Left 4 Dead / Horde mode kind of endurance test. And maybe then it'll be quite fun. But I read online, and I don't trust this because I don't trust anything I read online really, that it's solo only. Yet, if it's solo only, why does the safe house have like 5 seats? Why does it have the 4 seats around the area if it's solo only? That doesn't make sense to me. The decoration itself does not specify it has to be done solo. So I reckon you can do that with friends. So if you can get a team of crazy assholes together who want to try that and want to commit to it, because that's all it takes, guys. It's not, you know, the immediacy of it, it's the sticking with it. Anybody who played Left 4 Dead on Expert will know, when you got to that final part of the level, and it was just kind of survive and get to that escape vehicle, and it was almost impossible, it was all about staying with it, and the moment somebody's like, should we do something else, you lose, because your team starts doubting it then, and then they start counting the minutes, and then eventually someone quits, and then you can't do it with 3 people. And that's the main issue with something like this. One of the main reasons why I do walkthroughs like this and I don't do co-op walkthroughs and things of that nature is because I don't have to carry anyone. And I don't mean that offensively to other people, because there's times when they'll probably have to carry me, but the only person I can guarantee performance from is myself. And it's just 100% truth, you know what I mean? When you play co-op with your friends, it's really fun, but you generally don't do it on the hardest difficulty trying your pants off, do you? And if you do, it's a very specific type of thing, like... I've played co-ops on hardest difficulties many a times, but we were never being super serious. It was never like, you know, we need to fucking do this kind of thing. And I think you need that, and it's very difficult when maybe 3 of your teammates or 3 of your team is reliable, but you have that weak link who's a really, really good friend, but he's just, you know, if he's the last one alive, you always lose. So you kind of need him not to be type deal. And everybody's got those kind of friends, you know, not everybody can be great at every game. It's not how it works, you know. Some people are just, they just have fun playing and they want to be part of a group and everything, and that's fine. But I'm the guy that gets mad at that person, unfortunately, because I don't like losing. And it can be ugly at times when, you know, there's a weak link in the chain and everybody's thinking it but nobody's saying it. Well, I'm the guy that says it. You know, stay back, dude, you're dying a lot, you know, don't run in. Why are you running in? Why aren't you in cover? Have you played video games before, bro? Like... And I hate to be that person, but, you know, I take my my hard difficulties and my challenges rather seriously, because I think you have to. If you don't, you'll just lose. And why would I want to spend 4 hours doing a simple checkpoint just because, you know, a certain aspect of your team is not pulling his weight? And I don't ask people to be the godly gamers or the best gamers in the world. I just ask them to try and play seriously. And some people just can't. You know, you get that, and it's fine. It's just we'll probably clash, and hopefully you're good with confrontations, because if you're not, I'll destroy you with words, because that's kind of what I do. And I don't do it to people unnecessarily, it's always provoked, but everybody's been in that situation where everybody's wanted to kick somebody from a party, but they've been too polite to do it. I'm the guy that's like, dude, either fuck off or step up, because this is getting annoying, you're failing the team. Straight up. But that's what's great about solo. You know, when you fail, it's you. Or it's the game if you DSP. Or it's the game if it is the game, rarely. Or it's the game if you're angry and you want something else to blame. But this is the boss, and this is my spot. I rush these stairs. You get flanked from both sides here, guys. People on this avenue with you, and people coming from behind, like him. However, the vehicle has a very difficult time of hitting you. So what I recommend doing is put on your swarm. If you start getting swarmed, get it? Send out the swarm. And all you're going to need to do is when you get a breathe... Oh, there that was. Very lucky, but it works. When you get a breathing moment, start attacking the vehicle. So I send the swarm out to cover my avenues. It splits into 2 different directions. You'll notice that the soldiers are a little distracted at times, and then I'm going to start focusing on trying to destroy the vehicle. But you need to be aware here. There are people on the balconies that can one-shot kill you very quickly, and if any of these dudes decide to shoot at you, you can catch a stray bullet. It's a little frustrating. But for the most, at this point, the music's great, it's really tense, it's an interesting sequence. I just wish the enemies were finite. And the tank, wherever he moves, will dictate where you have to move to kill him. And I generally never move out of this position unless the tank is in range for me to start damaging it. And you'll notice, I've thinned the numbers a little bit, so it's looking a lot more doable now, and I start attacking the vehicle. This might be a sequence actually where it isn't infinite spawns, but I believe it will be if you push it wrong. But he just got his shield back then, so that was a wasted missile. So I send out another swarm to give me some breathing room. I was wondering what that was, it distracted me. And then I'm going to start peppering the tank again. And luckily enough, the tank takes about a clip's worth of damage before it then tries to attack you. So I throw a couple of grenades just to try and clear the way, see if I can do some damage. It doesn't really work, guys. Only throw lethals when its shield is down. And then I think there's the swarm again. There's a couple of grenades just to put some... And here's a dude who's now pushing up. So be very careful, because we've done quite a lot of work on this boss so far for us to die now. And the checkpoint is before I moved into this alleyway, or this archway, sorry. So the boss goes down again. There's nobody on my ass. I come over here, fire another missile. I don't know if locking on gives you a bigger damage bonus with the rocket, but I just didn't have time for that shit. And there it was. Boss is done. Looks really easy, doesn't it? But it's not, guys. I died a few times on this sequence. And any of those people that rushed me when I didn't see them and I turned around and they were just like, yo dog, and then I shot them in the face, any one of those could have killed me. But they didn't. And it's very key that we stress that. I was searching for realistic walkthroughs earlier, and I noticed that the person who inspired me to make walkthroughs is making one for this game. And when I watched the video, I was immediately massively disappointed. And it's one of those weird things where, you know, I don't know this person, and I used to really respect them for no other reason than they had this level of integrity where they played games on the hardest difficulty, and they generally abided to, you know, new game, no inherited anything, no advantages. It was a guide to help the everyday gamer. By the way, folks, this is a straight-up zombie section. It came out of nowhere. I really appreciated it, but it's just not set up for zombies. It is not ideal at all. Like, there's no really good kiting spot. There's a lot of places where zombies come from, and it's so dark, it's really hard to see them at times. So my advantage, or my advice here, is to stay in this corner where I am, and maximise on damage, and just realise that your abilities aren't really going to help you here. I think the swarm might help, but I don't think I did it. The good news is there's a checkpoint midway through, and I didn't die on the first part, and I died twice on the second part. Just because I got mobbed. But it's interesting to have this here. It's a nice, you know, reference to the old stuff and an homage to the zombie mode, because zombie mode now is arguably more popular than campaign. Like, it's been more popular than campaign for a long time. One could argue it's more popular than the multiplayer 6 months down the line, because it's one of those game modes that some people just absolutely adore. I've never got it to that extent, but I've wasted a couple of nights with friends playing it, and I've had a lot of fun. Like, I've put a lot of hours in solo, but I never got it like some people did, where it's all they do, you know, straight up. They just, when they're not doing it, they're thinking about doing it. That's not me at all, but I do enjoy me some zombies. However, I think this is a little out of place, even though it is really fun. But as I was saying, folks, you could call this person kind of a hero, even though I wouldn't say that, because to me a hero has to be somebody that's really affected your life, and this person opened my eyes to essentially recording video games for the purposes of a walkthrough and adding your voice on them. So when I clicked on his video, and I saw immediately that he had all the cybercore abilities, and he had a sniper rifle and a thermal scope, and he had the self-revive ability on the very first mission where you don't have any of that, I was so disappointed. It was like a slap to my pride. Like, the standards that I adhere to in these walkthroughs are the same thing I saw this guy doing, and really respected him for it, which it just goes to show, doesn't it, how people change, and how the culture of YouTube and walkthroughs has changed. And I turned it off. I couldn't watch it. And it's just that weird thing. The strategies they're showing in that video are probably spot on, and they're going to help a lot of people. But they're not going to help the person who wants to start on realistic and get it out of the way, because he's not done that. He's played the game a bunch and come back with abilities you literally do not have in that moment. And I love that electric palm, dude. It's so good. Straight up just fuck you, palm. There was the checkpoint, by the way. The weird thing with that palm move is, though, you can't seem to do it outside of this mode. Like, I don't know if you can do it in multiplayer if you're a particular specialist, but you most certainly can't seem to do it in zombies, because you knife, and then I found the Bowie knife, which is just, you know, a big knife. I haven't found the Knuckle Dusters thing, if that exists, like Shock Fist, which would be nice, because I thought that was cool. But then again, on zombies, I haven't even found the Pack-a-Punch, and I've completed the ritual. I've, like, found all the batteries. I've got up to, I think I was about wave 12 on my furthest run, which is not impressive wave-wise, but I'd done the ritual by wave 7 or something, and it was all solo, so, you know, I'd killed 4 of those big green dudes. By the way, did you notice how I took a few hits then? Take a shot. Couldn't honestly tell you how I survived, but I did. It's obviously not on realistic, guys. That's why I survived, because I'm a big giant liar. But I think this is over now because she's going to say she can't let go. And then all you have to do is shoot her. And I took no greater pleasure than putting a bullet in her forehead because I hated this level. There was just too much annoyance. Oh, by the way, you see that just then? That was me showing you what the game would want you to pick as far as loadouts go. It's recommended weapons. So, really, really useful. But that's the end of the mission, guys. Good luck with that one. It's pretty tricky in parts. And as always, you take care now.